One weather extra. Good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Look at all that sunshine. That looks amazing outside right now, right? Another one of those days where it's going to be hard pressed to find a cloud in the sky, and it was another chilly start to the day. Back-to-back mornings that had temperatures in the 30s and low 40s, and certainly crisp to start the day. But with all this great weather that we have throughout this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the cool and refreshing mornings and the warm afternoons, we do have to keep an eye on the weekend, and we've issued a 48 first alert weather day for Sunday. Not so much for severe weather, but more just an impactful kind of day with rain that could be heavy at times. Just a steady soaking rain with some gusty winds up to about 30 miles an hour, and also just really cool temperatures. Sunday is going to be a miserable day outside. Damp, cool, cloudy, rainy, breezy, but we need the rain. So on the flip side of it, that's a good thing, but on the bad side of it, it's just not going to be a very nice day. And it'll be impactful if you're going to be out and about on Sunday, especially if you come across some of that heavier rainfall. Last Sunday, we had some winds that were gusting like 30, 40 miles an hour. I had a big tree limb in my tree that snapped in the backyard that I'm getting taken care of as we speak. And that could happen again, some minor tree limb damage and stuff. Let's talk about the forecast. So Parkway, Huntsville, good, lots of sunshine. And take you to the temperatures that are pretty much 60s for everybody now. There's always that one exception. Scottsboro sitting at 59. But overall, though, warms up nicely this time of year. Even if you have a chilly morning, the sun can still work its magic and get you back up to 60 pretty quickly. That's where we're at now. We'll probably end up real close to like 72, 73 this afternoon. And much like yesterday, there'll be a bit of a breeze in the afternoon. It's a little bit more west-southwesterly today and gusts to about 20 miles an hour. Very similar to what you had yesterday. The difference is yesterday, more areas stayed in the 60s. I think more areas will be in the low 70s today. So just a little bit warmer in the afternoon. Not much in the way that you're going to notice it when you walk outside and be like, wow, it's so much warmer today and I'm sweating. It's not like that. It'll be just a few degrees warmer. So our next weather maker that I already alluded to on Sunday that's prompted the first alert weather day is out in the southern Rockies right now, bringing some rainfall to the Rockies areas, higher elevation snow, and it will eject out of the Rockies sometime tonight into tomorrow and eventually become a low pressure that tracks across Texas and eventually has a V-line for the Tennessee Valley by the weekend. As the storm gets here, it's mainly a rainmaker that starts on Sunday morning. So we've taken the percent that we had, the 20% pop we had for Saturday out of it. We just talked about how the clouds will increase Saturday, and we've kept the rain in for Sunday, and that looks like the majority of the rain will fall on Sunday this weekend. Lots of sunshine today, no rain, 70s. And then tonight, another clear and crisp night with temperatures falling back in the low 40s. But let's talk more about the weekend. So obviously on Saturday, if you have outdoor plans, it will fare better than Sunday will. You're going to have more cloud cover on Saturday, though, in terms of the amount of sunshine will be limited. It won't be nearly as bright as it is today and tomorrow. Temperatures at night won't be as cold either. But what's really weird about the pattern for Sunday is you wake up in the morning, it'll be one of the warmest mornings we've had in, like, at that point, almost four or five mornings, where it'll be in the mid-50s Sunday morning. But what will happen is, as that rain moves west to east, the air at the surface is really, really, really dry. So you have to saturate that air to get that rain to fall all the way to the ground, right? That's why when you look at an app, you'll see relative humidity. Okay, it has nothing to do with how humid it is outside. But when that number is close to 100, that means the air is saturated, and you usually have some rain or fog or drizzle. It'll take a while to saturate the air, but once we do and that rain starts falling to the ground, it will evaporate. It's called evaporational cooling, and what happens is it will keep the temperatures from warming up. In fact, you'll probably stay steady or slightly drop temperature-wise on Sunday. So you have a low of 54. You may bump up just a little bit to 59 by 6 or 7 a.m. Once the air saturates on Sunday, it will then evaporate and cool the air into the afternoon. And by the time you get to 3 p.m. on Sunday, there'll be some areas that are like 51 or 52 with a wind gusting up to 30 miles an hour and periods of rain coming down heavy at times. That is a gross day across the board, but beneficial rain though. That's why we've issued the 48 first alert weather day for Sunday, and we might not be done with the rainfall at that point. Might have a little bit more in the way of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Most of the forecast model runs have another little low pressure clipping the area and becoming essentially what we call cutoff. So it's like it's walking through the woods but not following the path. It doesn't know where to go, and it gets lost and stuck and spins around, and it can bring periods of rain for many days in a row, and that's what could happen Monday night through Wednesday morning. So we've added all that rain there too. So if we were to hit on all that rain Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's actually a good thing. We could use the rain. It'll keep the temperatures down with the clouds and the rain in the forecast, and no more 70s. In fact, it'll be a struggle to get to the 60s when we have the clouds and the rain in the forecast. Once that system moves away, behind it comes a shot of some pretty cool air for Thursday and Friday. Temperatures in the upper 50s. And if you're thinking about your trick-or-treat costume, maybe wear something warm, because by the time we get to Friday evening, it will cool off quickly. It will be chilly for the trick-or-treaters. And by the time you wake up Saturday morning, there could be some areas in like the low 30s. So it's like a wave of cooler temperatures at first with the rain and the clouds, and then you dry out, and then it gets downright cold for Thursday and Friday before slight moderation for next Saturday. So those of you who have been wanting that really cool fall-like stretch of weather, and you were hoping for temperatures in the 60s and 70s, well, you got 50s and 60s instead coming for you, and that's how we're going to close the month of October out. Of course, Halloween being the 31st, Saturday, November 1st. And what you don't see on that 10-day forecast is on the 11th day, which is November 2nd, daylight saving time ends, and we will go ahead and drop the clocks back 1 hour. So your sunrise will be really early in the morning, and your sunset will be obviously a lot earlier in the evening, and that obviously gets everybody upset. Because it's not the days are getting shorter, it's just that the actual daylight hours are shifting. That's a better way to describe it. And I'm just making sure I said that right. Yeah, daylight saving time ends on the 2nd of November. So, huge debate on whether or not we should have daylight savings, right? Everybody gets upset about it. Hi, Al. Al Moniz, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Cut lawns today? What are you doing? Good to see you on. I feel so bad. I called you yesterday the other day to talk about some changes taking place. Gave you a buzz, and I was driving, and obviously I had two hands on the wheel, and I was doing it without the phone up here I had on speaker. But I felt like I had to end the conversation quick. I was driving, and I was going through some traffic, and I was like, I got to go. But we'll talk again soon, I promise. Lori, are we going to have 80s degree again? 80 degree temperatures again. I enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Lori, that's a great question. This is the time of year when we start to say adios to the 80s. Not so much. If we have an 80 degree day, it's usually the exception rather than the rule, because our typical high temperature for the end of October into November is to drop back below 70 for the average high. So if you have an 80 degree day, it's rare, but it can still happen for sure. We can have 80 degree days in December based on the records and climatological data showing us what's happened over years and years and years in this area. We've hit 80 before many times in December and January. So to say 80s are gone, not completely, but certainly not in the next 10 days. And yeah, I mean, just not going to happen on a regular basis for sure. We're pretty much done with them, except for a rare day that it gets really warm. So, Barbara says, watching. Thank you for the update. Barbara, you're very welcome. I appreciate you watching. That's always good. Thank you very much. Lisa says, I live near 65 North in Southbridge. I've been 4 years, still can't figure this out. Lisa, what can't you figure out? Talk to me. I'll help you. Try to help you figure it out. I don't know. The change in the season or the daylight saving time? Help me out on that. I would love to. I'll try to make it make sense. Evelyn says, I'm watching from Walmart, and I wish they would leave the time alone. Yeah, everybody's going to, the complaining will start now. But, you know, every year they say that they're going to take daylight saving time away, and it's going to be done with. And every year we still change the clocks back an hour. We fall back or we spring forward. But the fall back one is the one that everybody doesn't like, because obviously the daylight hours for the evening get cut short by an hour, essentially. Like, for people who wake up in the morning, like I'm a morning person because I work morning shift here, the sunrises are a lot earlier and it's great, but the sunsets are a lot sooner. On the flip side of it, though, and this is kind of a tough one to explain to people, but if you don't switch the clocks back, it's dark in the morning until almost 8:15 in the morning to 8:30. So your sunrise wouldn't be until many people were already at work. It would be a little weird. But I guess don't knock it till you try it, put a little on your plate, is that until we actually don't have to do daylight saving time, we'll never experience that. And then maybe after we do that and it's dark through like mid-morning, that might change people's perspective. But always an interesting debate about daylight saving time. And I've been doing this for 20 years almost, and I know people hate it, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm really sorry. But I can say this: when you're changing your clock back 1 hour, check the batteries in your fire detector. Little smoke alarm up there. Make sure it's okay. Watching from Vinemont, not Walmart. Okay. Well, Walmart too. I mean, you could do some shopping and have us on stream. I mean, it's really cool. But that works. Vinemont's beautiful. I love Vinemont. I'll go down there all the time. Been there many times. Lisa says the change in seasons, really cold and icy sometimes. Yeah, that's what can happen when it gets into the winter months for sure. Some cold and ice, and definitely a different feel than summer. The seasons, I don't know. Some people like maybe want one type of season all year round. I kind of like the fact that I'm in a place that gets 4 seasons, and I like the fact that winter is really short here. I'm used to snow and ice all the way through March and April. We don't have that here very often. I like the fact that you can get back to the 70s by early March here on a regular basis, which is always cool. But for everybody, it's their own things that they like. Like what season's their favorite, or they don't like seasons. They want to have one season. But you do you, boo, or whatever you like, right? Hi, Dio from PC. Good to see you on. Hope all is well. Lisa says, we get direct tornadic too. We can have storms, yes, Lisa. We can have some very dangerous storms here for sure. And that can happen year round, but they tend to favor the spring. But we can have tornadoes any month of the year. Actually, here it's certainly been documented. Evelyn says, I get up early and got to be at work by 8. See, if we didn't have daylight saving time and it didn't come to an end, you'd be at work at 8 o'clock and it'd still be dark outside. But because we changed the clocks back, November 2nd, sunrise is early enough that it's bright when you get to work. It just gets dark by the time you get home to work. It's a trade-off. You know? But if you didn't change the clocks, you would have your sunrise would be after you got to work at 8 o'clock. So, kind of weird, right? So we started Weather Extra a little late today, and I have to actually go out there for TVL. I'm on TVL today, and it starts up right now, so I have to do a weather hit here in a few moments. So I got to get ready for that. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be in tonight, and he'll have the very latest on the first alert weather day for Sunday and the impacts that we'll be having for the second half of the weekend, and he'll have an update on that. And Eric Burke will be back tomorrow morning, and he will have the very latest on the forecast, tracking the trends on how Sunday plays out, how much rain will fall across the area. Right now, forecast models hinting at about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, maybe even as much as 2 inches of rain, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. It's beneficial rain. It's just a miserable day on Sunday with the wind, the rain, and the cool temperatures. As like I said, we have a 59 there for the high, but probably a lot of mid-50s in the afternoon, and maybe even some low 50s by the time we get to 4 or 5 p.m. So anyway, I got to get going. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk again soon.